Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Ryan's Favorites. And in this video I'm going to be talking about my favorite Alfred Hitchcock movies. And it was really hard to do because I really love all of his movies about the same, but I really tried to get it down to 5. So I picked out 5 of, in my opinion, his best and my favorite personal films by him. So let's go ahead and get started. This one was the first one that I really considered my favorite Hitchcock film because it was really the first one I ever saw. And I was younger, and it was when I was just kind of exploring through Blockbuster. You know, I was a kid, and back then I used to just look at the boxes of the VHS and see if it looked cool. And so then I decided to, I really wanted to branch off into another style of film. This was around the time I was really starting to watch movies a lot, so I was really into a lot of war movies or westerns. And so I started thinking of characters or, just people that I really liked as actors, and I started thinking about which kind of, what other movies are they in? And, I was watching John Wayne movies as a western, and I was like, you know what? I really like, Jimmy Stewart, who was in The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance with John Wayne, and I was like, I really like Jimmy Stewart too. I like him in, It's a Wonderful Life and stuff, and I was like, I want to check out some of his other movies. So I was kind of on my Jimmy Stewart kick, and I came across Vertigo, which is probably, now that I think about it, in my opinion, the best psychological thriller of all time. It's about a detective named Scott Ferguson. I think he goes by Scotty Ferguson, and he actually is involved in like a chase that does not have a good ending for one of his officers that are with him, and so he quits the force and he's enjoying retirement life, and all of a sudden he gets like a call from an old friend who wants to meet with him, and his old friend wants him to go back into the business and investigate his wife because he thinks his wife is going to commit suicide. And so, Jimmy Stewart's character's like, okay, I'll follow your wife or whatever, and he becomes obsessed with following her, and he has vertigo, which is when you get dizzy from high places and all this stuff, and so he can't go to certain places. Well, one day he's following her, and she falls into the San Francisco Bay, and she does all these other things, but they become, close. But one day he actually loses her, and she commits suicide. And he is completely disturbed by this and damaged by it, because he really started, I think, to fall in love with her. And I think that's what the movie portrays. And it all changes, and it turns into like a heartbreak story, but it all changes when he sees a woman who looks exactly like the woman that he was following. And it just becomes a story of obsession, and it's a major psychological thriller. And when it first came out, it actually had mixed reviews, and not everybody liked it. And now it's actually considered one of his best films by critics and movie list of best movies, and it's held up very good. And I also think this movie has one of the best Hitchcock endings, and I also think it has one of the best movie soundtracks of all time. The score by Bernard Herrmann is so haunting, but it is, I actually have the album of this, I actually have the CD of this movie in my car, just the soundtrack by Bernard Herrmann, and it is just amazing, an amazing score, and it's an amazing movie. And so I suggest you pick this up. It's not out on Blu-ray yet, but they have like a special edition of it out. I still have this special edition from the Alfred Hitchcock collection on DVD, but I'm not going to upgrade it until it comes out on Blu-ray. Great film. The next film is actually one of my all-time favorite films, and it's always on my all-time favorite films list whenever I come up with one, and that's Jimmy Stewart and Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, which is about a man. He's a photographer. He gets injured, and he's basically sitting in an apartment, healing. One of his legs are broken, and all he gets to do all day because he can't walk around is just stare out his window. And the window looks out into this big, courtyard, and you see all these other apartment windows, and you're kind of watching the movie through his apartment. You never go outside the apartment until the end of the movie. And so he's just stuck in this wheelchair looking out the window, and he starts to get all these clues that he thinks that he actually gets all these clues that somebody was murdered. And so he starts investigating, himself and all this stuff, and it's a great movie. And the ending of it, and really the whole movie, has this great psychological hold over your head, because you're kind of seeing what he's seeing, and you really want to find out what the heck's going on. And it has a great... I remember the first time I saw this, for like the last 20 minutes, my adrenaline was pumping, because I wanted to find out what the heck's going on, and you really root for this character. And it's a great film. And it stars Grace Kelly, who's also one of Hitchcock's known women, to be in his films. And I think she's a great actress, and this is a great performance by her. And it's just an overall great movie. So, if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and see it. It's a great film. And how can you do any list about Hitchcock without including Psycho? It's just one of those films that you kind of, once you see it, you love it because it's so inventive, and the story is amazing. And what this is about a woman. If you haven't seen this, I'm going to kind of give away minor spoilers, so I'd fast forward to where I'm holding up the next film. But it's about a woman named Marion who, wait, let me make sure. I'm pretty sure it's, Marion Crane. I was just making sure I didn't use her fake name instead of her real name in the film. Marion Crane, she's having a romantic relationship with a man who's, in debt, and they can't get married until he gets out of debt and he stops paying his wife alimony and stuff. And so, Marion's kind of sick of not being married to him. And so, one day she just kind of steals this money from work, and she goes on the road to find, her man. And she starts to have this guilt trip about taking all this money, and she ends up at a hotel, and it's called the Bates Motel, and she meets the owner of the hotel and the guy who runs it, Norman Bates. And so they're talking one night over dinner because he wants to be friends with her, and they're just having a talk, and through the talk she actually comes up with a decision to go back and get back the money and pay back what she's already used and stuff, and then so she doesn't get any more trouble. So she's like, okay, I'm just going to go to bed, and in her mind she's like, I'm going to go to bed, take a shower, go to bed, and then get up in the morning and go change my life and stop doing these bad things. Well, she's murdered, and when she's taking a shower in the famous shower scene, and the narrative of the film actually switches as you become, friends with Norman Bates to try to clean up the mess and deal with it. And meanwhile, there's an investigation going on and everything like that. But it's a great psychological thriller also. And I don't really consider it a horror movie, even though sometimes it gets classified as that. But I don't think it's a horror movie at all. It's thrilling, but it's not horror at all. And it's just a great film, and it has one of cinema's best twists of all time. And if you've never seen it, which I think it's a very few people who haven't seen this movie, you guys know what I'm talking about who've seen it. But if you haven't seen it, do yourself a favor and watch this. And what I like to do when I watch this film is every time I watch it as if I've never seen it before. I try to clear my mind of everything I've seen in the film, and I watch it as if it's my first time. Now, I know the ending and stuff, but I really have like a renewed interest in the film every time I see it. It's crazy how I can do that, but we could all do that with certain films. So, definitely check this one out. Sorry, I'm just kind of tossing them on the floor down here when I'm done. The next film is one I first saw on AMC when AMC used to have those Alfred Hitchcock Sundays, I think they were, and they'd show like one of the new restored films, and it was hosted by, I forgot who hosts them. I think it's the guy who does the TCM, Turner Classic Movies, introductions now. But anyways, that's when I first saw this movie, and it's Alfred Hitchcock's Rope, starring Jimmy Stewart. And the reason why I love this film so much is because it's so inventive, and when it came out it actually had mixed reviews. But real quick, I'll give you a plot synopsis. Two guys that were friends in college, the movie opens up with them killing one of their other friends, and they kill him, put him in, they hide his body inside of a kind of like a chest, I guess you could say, and they have a party at the house. And so, meanwhile they're hosting this party. Meanwhile, the guest of honor pretty much is dead inside of the table. And it's just such a suspense-filled film because it's played out in real time. Pretty much, that's one of the reasons why I love it so much. Hitchcock actually films it in 10-minute takes to give the film a real time, a real life feel. But Jimmy Stewart's one of their old college professors, I think it was. I don't think he's their friend, but he was also one of the professors who kind of, he's one of those kind of guys that always likes to think about the worst case scenarios, and he's really weird about murder and stuff. And so you think that he starts to catch on about the way these guys are acting, that maybe their dinner guest that's supposed to be coming there also isn't going to show up. And of course, us as the viewers know he's not going to show up because he's dead, and he was killed with the rope. They strangled him. But it's a great film, very suspenseful. It's one of Alfred Hitchcock's shortest movies. It's only an hour and 21 minutes. And so, definitely check this out. It's a really, really cool one. The next film I'm going to talk about is Strangers on a Train, which is a film that is a very, very good... It was the film that was considered the beginning of Alfred Hitchcock's 50s golden period, which, every one of his movies was a masterpiece, considered by critics and stuff. But this one, Strangers on a Train, is about two guys who have a little proposal that they put forth on a train one day, and that's I'll kill yours, you kill mine. Kind of you could take care of this problem for me and I'll take care of yours. And it's just a suspenseful thriller in the fact that one of the guys thought that they were just joking, but the other guy is so obsessed about it that he's going to make sure that the murders take place. And it's just an insane movie. Great, great suspense. So definitely check this out. Alright guys, that's the last of the Alfred Hitchcock movies I'm going to be talking about. And so I hope you guys like my picks. If you haven't seen any of these, be sure you go out and see them. Have a great day.